and look, not just because I'm an LSU fan, I think they are going to win it, but I think the team you got to watch out for is Georgia. I understand Georgia lost, but Georgia is fucking loaded.
Yeah.
That kid Gurley, who's there, and that's his last name, really. His last name's Gurley, but he runs like a fucking man.
He really does. I mean,
he's a monster at tailback.
I think the thing when you come out of Georgia, I don't think it's so that even though they cost a lot, I thought it just told you a lot about fucking Clemson. And I tell you what,
yeah, Clemson's the first team to beat two SEC teams back to back.
Yeah, so I mean they look good.
They beat LSU last year and they turn around and beat Georgia this year.
Yeah.
I think Clemson might win the entire ACC. It's going to come down to them and Florida State.
Yeah, I think so. And they meet Florida State, and you're so funny because they meet Florida State, and then the weekend after they're at Maryland, and everybody's saying that's the game you got to watch out for because they'll get so hyped up for Florida State, and then they'll fucking teams do it all the time.
We talk like you were just about to say. We talk about it all the time. There are trap games.
Yep.
When you only have to get up for a game or two,
yeah,
you could fall and slip, and I think that's what happens. But with the ACC coming around, I don't think Clemson's going to get caught in a trap game. I think their head coach is going to have them prepared all season long. I think if they get beat, they're going to get beat by a better team. I don't see them slipping up and losing to a team they should beat.
Right. I think, yeah.
And I'm not saying Maryland's a team they should beat, but right now, I mean, one's ranked, one's not. I mean, after yesterday, you were telling me, because I no longer live in Maryland, so I don't get the pleasure of watching getting force-fed Maryland and the Redskins. And you sat there and told me Maryland did what they were supposed to do yesterday and hammered the school.
They hammered it. Now Florida International, I thought they were better. It was the year before, but last year they were just terrible. I went back to check out the record. But Maryland is looking good. Obviously, now they got a system. They have their regular quarterback back. Maryland had the third or fourth string quarterback last year. Forget Maryland because they're really not in the talk as much as I'd love to talk about them. Let's talk about the best of the rest. Ohio State did what they had to do. Oregon did what they had to do. But let's talk about the other fucking Oregon because Oregon State, wow.
Yeah, I mean, they lost.
Upset by an FCS team. Mm-hmm.
They lost at home to an FCS team. And for you folks out there who don't know what an FCS team is, you have like Division I and then like the other guys.
Right.
Like the guys who aren't Division. I mean, that's what they lost to basically a D2 school at home being a ranked team. It was the first time in history.
Yeah.
Now, they weren't the only Division I school yesterday to lose to a D2 school, but the other D2 school won the national title in D2 like the last 2 years running. So, like now, North Dakota State or something.
North Dakota State, right. They're actually pretty decent, but
and Western Kentucky beat Kentucky.
Yeah, that was the other one. I couldn't figure I was losing my train of thought. Now, another team that I know you were really excited to see the loss was Boise State, lost their opener. It's funny how Boise State.
No, seriously, no, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Boise State.
Did what?
Lost.
You sorry motherfuckers. No championship talk for you. Who'd they lose to?
Yeah, Boise State lost their opener. I mean,
who did they lose to? In all seriousness, I didn't know they lost. Who'd they play?
Boise State played Washington. Okay. Now, George, everybody is why George is slipping. George hates Boise State. Let me tell you something. Okay. And I'll tell you a little bit about the Boise State game, George, to get your cock hard, because I know you're getting real excited about this. Okay. Boise State. Okay. Who is ranked 19th in the country, because they always do this.
Whoops.
Played Washington. Okay.
Whoops.
Washington. The University of Washington, who is not even ranked.
Those motherfuckers are rotten.
Right. They're not even ranked, okay? Do you want to know what the score was? 38-6.
Oh!
No one's talking about this because
Where
basically
was the game
played? It was played in Washington. It was played in Washington.
Dude, and it's right next door. It's not like they had to go far.
No. But let me tell you something.
Hopped on a bus. They didn't even get a plane ride.
Boise State has a lot of issues because Washington's quarterback, Price, had 324 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. Now, that's not it, okay? The running back, Sankey, for Washington. Have you ever heard of Sankey? Okay.
No.
That Bama had 25 carries for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. So this is against a team that's not ranked, everybody. So, the times in the past where we sat there and bitched about Boise State, no one talked about this because it was overshadowed. It was the first week in football. You had Manziel coming back, Alabama. You had Georgia versus Clemson. You had LSU. You had all these other big headlines. No one even gave a shit about Boise State. And no one brought up the fact that they got housed by Washington 38-6.
And you know what? After this week, we don't have to hear any more shit about Boise State, because I would be willing to bet, without even looking at their schedule, it's weak. They don't play another ranked team, and they're going to cry, because this will be their only loss. They'll run the table. They'll end up being like 10-1, 11-1, 9-1, and they're going to cry about how they're not in a BCS game.
Right. Now,
your strength of schedule sucks, and next year when there's a playoff system, trust me, even with your one loss, you're still going to be on the outside looking in. What you bitches need to do is either go to the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or the Pac-13 now or the Big 12. Instead, you keep fiddle fucking around between the Big East and the Mountain West and the Big East and the Mountain West and the Big East. No one fucking is going to come out of the Mountain West ever and win the national title. Fucking face facts. It's not going to fucking happen.
Speaking of this, I'm trying to find...
I'll be dead before a team from the Mountain West wins the national title in football.
Okay, hold on. You got this American Athletic Conference, okay? And I want to see exactly who's in it, because, you know, they combine the Big East and,
yeah, because that's the new one. Yeah, no, because Boise State was supposed to go to the Big East. And then once they created, and everyone bailed from the Big East, they said, fuck that shit. And I'm pretty sure they went back to the Mountain West, because the Mountain West got themselves an automatic bid into the BCS.
Right. So you got,
but now with the playoff system, that automatic bid don't mean shit.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, this year is the only year it would matter. But the American Athletic Conference has, you've got Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, Louisville, Memphis, Connecticut, Rutgers, South Florida, South Methodist, SMU, Temple. And then you've got on the other side, Cincinnati, Houston. It's the same shit. I'm saying the same fucking teams. Oh, it's just those fucking...
That's going to come down to Cincinnati and Louisville.
Yeah, it's only got 10 teams.
The kid Bridgewater for Louisville is nasty as shit.
Right. So, I mean, it's not much. I mean, I don't see any of those teams making the playoffs. No,
it's also Rans. It's the almost teams.
Yeah.
They're almost really good.